Ronaldinho, the smile that changed football. One of the few highly talented players adorning the colorful tapestry of football history, with all its shine, is Ronaldinho. Once in a way, this Brazilian master, whose brilliance on the pitch goes beyond being one sport, is the entire game of football. Being it in football, the roots of the career of Ronaldinho trace back to a poor family steeped in the tradition of football. Born on March 21, 1980, in Porto Alegre, Brazil, Ronaldinho Moreira Felgrio, known internationally simply as Ronaldinho, was well on his way to accomplishing one of these ambitions before he ever made a professional appearance with Grêmio in 1998. Much of Ronaldinho's youth was passed with his father, João, actively involved in developing the young boy into the highly skilled footballer who would one day be to see duty with Barcelona from 2003 to 2008 and AC Milan from 2008 to 2012, among other clubs. Meanwhile, his mother, Miguelina, who had had a great career as a nurse and was extraordinarily successful, laid the solid groundwork for his earliest years of life. His father left when Ronaldinho was only 8 years old. It was a severe blow to him, and Ronaldinho did not take it well. Both inspirational and a driving force behind his unrelenting pursuit for excellence in the beautiful game, this event has played a great role in him and formed a spark within which motivated him towards seeking perfection. Since childhood, Ronaldinho has always been able to demonstrate a natural talent, which has been hard to ignore. He was full of crazy video games that he played up and down the streets of Vila Nova, a busy neighborhood where he grew up. To impress his friends, he would do stunts and flicks that would seem almost magical. He exhibited a style that combined flair, innovation, and an innate appreciation of the game when representing local teams. This style was evident as he represented clubs. This thus resulted in his ability to impress all those who could be close to him. Indeed, at 13, when Ronaldinho was already possessing qualities no other boy of his age could boast of, this uniquely talented youngster caught the eye of Grêmio, one of the most prestigious clubs in Brazil. However, it was only when he was 20 years old that Ronaldinho made his debut in the professional ranks and further consolidated his reputation as a brilliant youngster. He made it to the youth program, the place where it was easy to push through ranks since the youth program polished his potential. The Copa do Mundo tournament, which took place in 1998, was the occasion on which Ronaldinho made his debut with the Brazilian national team. It was during this competition that he established a name for himself in the business world. His great efforts were really miraculous, but no one doubted the efficacy of this magnificent display of power by him and his team, and fans and commentators were stunned into awe by this brilliant performance, with Brazil still failing to win the tournament. His gentle touch, his swift movement, and his knack for spacing has earned him a lot of love and adoration from all sports lovers around the world. After an incredible period spent within Brazil, he signed with Paris Saint-Germain back in 2001 for an enormous transfer to Europe. That was a huge transfer. It was in Paris that Ronaldinho would finally flash his individual smile, which symbolized delight and excitement for the sport so deeply struck with fans everywhere around the world. This was a manifestation of Ronaldinho's smile, which was different. During his time with Paris Saint-Germain, Ronaldinho's flamboyant personality gained much of the fans and accumulated for him a following of accolades, especially being named League One's Player of the Year. That is what inspired the sport. This made him quite famous because of the ability and feats that he was doing. He left magic wherever he stepped into the field to play, showing a display that went beyond the ordinary athleticism that one would expect. Never was anyone like him. However, what made him stand out from the others was his infectious smile. And it was this smile that attracted spectators and other teammates to him. When it comes to football, which is a sport that very often dictates levels of pressure and intensity, Ronaldinho actually exemplified the concept of having fun when playing the game. He made everyone realize that one can indeed find joy through football. Actually, the only thing that could be equal to the exuberance he put into display on the field was his ability to make others realize the splendor that football has to offer. The year 2003 marked the turning point of his professional career. Ronaldinho decided to sign with FC Barcelona. He quickly became the heartbeat of the team under coach Frank Rijkaard, who led the club out of the quagmire it had been in for some years into a bright, glorious level of success. It is when his individual kind of play and positive attitude toward the game turned the team into a really forceful source in attacking football in the world. He came to Barcelona, It was at the outset of a revolutionizing age, and during such a period that he traveled. Ronaldinho's influence came almost instantaneously. He was the hub of a team that won their first La Liga championship in 6 years, and was a cornerstone of the side that went on to finish runners-up in the UEFA Champions League the same season. In 2006, Ronaldinho also played a deciding factor to the team's victory there. Not only were his exploits about statistics, but also concerning the moments of enchantment that would be etched into the annals of football history. Exploits were not created to create statistics only. He managed to do quite a number of great things. Ronaldinho, in 2005, showed flashes of brilliance by scoring 2 fantastic goals during a historic match against Real Madrid. These goals left the defenders in a daze and tagged him as a player of more potential in scoring goals. And from the point of view of his career, one of the most remembered moments about Ronaldinho. Furthermore, the fact that he received a standing ovation from the opposing team's fans after scoring his second goal at the Santiago Bernabeu was such a genuinely remarkable and unique gesture that seemed to portray respect that he had earned across the football world. His capability to win the hearts of the most fervent in his opponents proves him indeed an entertainer of fans. In addition to entertaining his followers, he was able to win the hearts of his opponents. Ronaldinho's spirit shone so brightly besides his marvelous capability on the field. This sideline carefree nature while playing made not only the players but the fans in general smile. He had played with such zeal that was contagious to others. Natively, he had the capacity to connect with his teammates, thereby making them shine most at every time. Hence, he created an atmosphere that made it easy to create togetherness. A toothy smile and a wave to the public became an all-trademark hallmark of ecstasy, with which Ronaldinho felt in playing the game. That celebration, which has come to be identified with Ronaldinho, became a trademark of the ecstasy he felt at playing the game. With all seriousness, he often walked around with a smile on his face, joking and enjoying moments of levity. The way he walked had a contagious quality, something utterly impossible to ignore. Off the field, he was equally riveting, and he participated in humanitarian activities trying to improve the living conditions of those in less affluent communities and to advance football as something that could be used to achieve positive change. He was a true inspiration. Throughout his career, Ronaldinho had many challenges to face. There were injuries and a decline in his form. These were some of the many he needed to conquer. Back in 2008, Ronaldinho returned from Barcelona, where he continued to bring brilliant performances, astonishing fans with great skills. At the time, he had been a member of the club for nearly 10 years. For most of his later career, Ronaldinho lived in Brazil, where he began to play professionally for several clubs, among them Atlético Mineiro. At this time, he also played for the national football team of Brazil. Even with a more laid-back approach to playing the game, he never lost that smiling sparkle that made him a constant reminder of enthusiasm for the beautiful game and for life in general. He's just a fan of the game. He never lost interest in the game and made it a point to meet young fans and aspiring players as often as he could. He instilled in them the very same delight and enthusiasm that had characterized his professional career and inspired them to pursue their aspirations along similar lines. It goes beyond mere statistics and accolades. Ronaldinho brought about a sea change in how the game of football is perceived and valued. One generation of players had him as a role model, and they fought to emulate him in style, originality, and flair. He inspired that generation. The combined skills with fun entertainingness could bring in a new audience for football. He would prove to the world that it's not just about winning, but also about the fun and expressiveness of the game. Ronaldinho was marked by zealous behavior, love for the game, and the joy he brought to the fans in all the corners of the world. These are the attributes that provided the essence of all the defining features of Ronaldinho. He taught the world that football is an art form, and it entertains and appreciates the creativity as well as capability of people along with their talents to reflect upon themselves in their respective capacity. We also remember Ronaldinho as a cultural figure. This is something we do in today's world, as we reflect on the fantastic journey that Ronaldinho has been on. His smile is unmistakably identified with the sport and, shockingly, as a reminder even in the heat of fierce competition and strained football, requires there is always room for happiness and innovation. The fantastic contributions of Ronaldinho to the sport of football have thereby transformed how we think about what it means to play football. Football has transcended from being a sport to a revelry of life itself, full of passion, joy, and the unrelenting spirit of the beautiful game. Football is a revelry of life. It will not only inspire the generations to come, but even remind them of how football is far beyond just a game.